Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Appreciate the attention to, I think, what we would all agree is a very important issue as we perform our function here on the committee, and that is one of oversight. We don't do near enough of it in this Senate, I think, when we think about the oversight issues, so the opportunity to focus on it today is appreciated. This hearing is being held in the midst of geopolitical turbulence. Ukraine is in turmoil. Iraq is on the brink. Energy is never far from any of these discussions. Our rising production gives us the opportunity to satisfy our own needs here at home and to help our friends and allies around the world to play a constructive role in global energy markets as a leader and not merely an importer. But unplanned disruptions are real. According to the EIA, last May saw 1.4 million barrels per day offline in Libya, 286,000 barrels per day offline in Nigeria, some 370,000 in Iraq, 130,000 in Yemen, 120,000 in South Sudan, 290,000 in Syria. This all adds up to a frightening number, mitigated by one factor alone, and that's rising U.S. oil production, brought to you by technology, sound state policies, and true American grit. These same forces have also delivered a renaissance in natural gas where global markets may not be as developed but are developing rapidly. Last December, I wrote the President. I asked him to consider the geopolitical impacts of U.S. oil and gas production as his administration prepared the forthcoming national security strategy. I still believe that, and I believe that events that have transpired since then have highlighted the importance of the national security aspects of production and exports in both oil and natural gas. And yet here we are, once again approaching LNG exports like there's some hypothetical enterprise, as if we still need more time to weigh our options. Well, I have weighed the options. I have looked at the evidence. I've attended multiple hearings about this issue. And I think it's time that we move beyond the speculation and get to the business of nuts and bolts governance, of implementation, of actually getting things done, rather than endlessly wringing our hands and falling prey to special interests and ideology. I have long advocated for expediting the process for Federal approvals of LNG exports. I did so in a white paper that we published last August. I reiterated that call this past January at the Brookings Institute. I have reached out to the administration hoping to find ways that we here in the Senate can help grant what I think are these no-brainer approvals on a timely basis. So if I've got one goal at this hearing, it is this, and that is to establish that there are reasons for optimism about this new procedural change at the DOE, but that there are also reasons for skepticism. It does have my cautious support, but I think time will tell on this. As the proposal is implemented, I want to be watching carefully. I believe it's also time for us to consider legislation that would bring certainty to the pace of final approvals. And all this proposal would clean up the conditional licensing queue. The mechanics of final licensing remain murky, especially in regards to timing. So, Madam Chairman, know that I am committed to working very, very, very hard to see final approvals this year, and know that working with you, we can encourage in the right direction. So pleased to have the witnesses before us and look forward to their comments here this afternoon.